Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Smith. I'm from Portland, Oregon.
And I'm Campbell Miller, and we're here in Austin, Texas. We just did a blues kitchen workshop on fresh beats.
So we started off with talking about rhythmic action. One of the base rhythms for blues dancing is your pulse. It's the foundational movement. It's a pendular action that starts from your shoulder and goes down into the knees. It looks like this. Shoom, shoom. You can imagine that you have a drum in front of your toes and you're hitting that drum with your knees. And that's creating the rhythm in your body. Boom, 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 boom. When you do side steps, you still keep hitting the drum with both knees.
We went on to talk about steps and putting rhythm into our feet, right? And we did singles versus doubles. So if we're counting the beats in 2-beat increments, we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, stepping on the 1, or just one step for 2 beats is a single, versus doubles would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 steps for the 2 beats. We briefly talked about delayed singles. We might as well bring that up here.
Sure.
And that just is delaying our step to the 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, or making whatever rhythm in a delayed fashion. That's what we talked about.
Yep.
And we put them together into different combinations.
Yeah, some very simple polyrhythms. You can think of having those 2 rhythms, the pulse and your weight shifts or your steps, as 2 layers that you can combine together. So the first one we did was to have a double pulse with a single step. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we had a double pulse with double step. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we slowed it down and did a single pulse with a single weight shift. Or, excuse me, to use more precise words, a delayed single pulse with a single step. And that looked like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
And remember, we talked about the musicality choices of each one, thinking about energy in the music and energy in these steps. Doubles being higher energy, delayed singles being the lowest, more laid-back choice.
We briefly talked about the exact timing. So when you take a step, that's occurring on the back swing of the pulse. So you have the forward swing, boom, and a back swing, and you combine them together. You take a step on the back swing, pulse, back swing, pulse, shoo, ba. You can actually step on the pulse action, but it feels a little bit awkward. So then, if you're pulsing on the beat, then your steps occur slightly off the beat, and we focused on this for just a little bit. So we went 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And this applies to all the rhythmic combinations.
Exactly. Then we went on to walk a little bit. How do we move around the floor?
Yeah.
So Andrew's going to demonstrate for us here. We integrated pulse while walking to all of the different rhythms actually. So let's do a single step and let's do a double pulse.
Shoo, boo, ba, shoo, boo, ba, shoo, boo, ba,
And we
shoo,
went backwards.
ba, do, boo, ba, do, boo, ba, shoo, boo, da, shoo, boo, da.
And if we change it to a single step and a single pulse perhaps.
Shoo, do, da.
And again, delayed single
Da,
pulse.
shoo, da, shoo, ba.
And
And
then
going
backwards.
backwards. 2, shoo, ba, 1, 2, and 1, 2.
And then our other meal deal, double double.
Shoo, do, shoo, boom, ba, do, shoo, shoo, shoo.
Excellent. All right, so that was really our part 1. Part 2 moved into our pelvis, and we worked on the grind action through the pelvis.
Yeah. This is a basic pelvic movement that comes out of African dance. You can think of it as being like a washing machine. It's going shoom, 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 shoom. So notice that, and Campbell, you do it again, that it's pivoting around the center point of your spine. so that both halves of the pelvis are moving equally in opposition. To build this up, we focused on the knee action, so that as you bend one leg and keep the other leg straight, that causes the hip to drop forward. You can straighten, drop the other one. Shoom, 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 shoom. When we put it into the walk, you have to let the swing action release and you bring your body through neutral. So after you've taken a step onto that bent leg, the hip is forward, then you swing through neutral before you take your next step. This is really important for the grind action. Shoom, ba.
We did briefly look at walking backwards as well with it, which is a little bit of a brain teaser for us. So if Andrew demonstrates, I'll point out here. So notice that his hips are still going this way, even though he just stepped back with his right foot. And then
the key is that your standing leg is bent. That's the important rule.
And we looked at that. If you untwist, or if you twisted your hips this way, it would make our legs straighten. Versus if we went back into this direction twist, it puts that leg into a bend, which is where we want it.
Yep.
Cool. Then we worked on another, the swoops.
Yeah, the swoop of the pelvis. And that looked like this. What you can do is
Yeah.
shoom, da, shoom, da, shoom, da, shoom, da. So the basic movement was to have a circular movement of the pelvis. Shoo, woo, shoo, woo. And then you combine it with a step. Ba, shoo, ba, do, da. You can make it extra complicated by throwing in a grind action so that it would look like this. Shoo, da, shoo, da, shoo, da, shoo, da.
And notice when we're working that grind action, we're still trying to isolate our upper body rather than letting it twist as well. So that was part of that integration practice.
Our last piece that we did was the four corners. So the four corners is a combination of a few movement elements. You've got the pulse, you've got a step, you've got a rotation. So you take your step, you begin to pulse as you rotate. You unwind, take a step, pulse and rotate. Zoom, da, voom, da, voom, da. Note that you can change the rhythm of your four corners, just like you did with your basic side-to-side steps. You can do single-single, you can do single-double, and all the different combinations.
Yeah, excellent. Then we did some extra challenges with polyrhythms. We did a challenge of using our arms to go in different directions, etc. We'll show that exercise real quick.
Yep, so one arm goes up and down. The other arm does all three corners. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Together it looks like this. Do, da, do. You can do it on both sides.
And you can do it while walking.
You can do
That's
it while walking.
Andrew special.
Do, da, shoom, da, shoom, da.
Yeah, and we had some fun applying this to the partnership. Of course, you could do the exercise with a partner, which is kind of fun. So I could go.
Oh, do, ba, do, da, do, da, do, da, shoom, ba.
Yep. And then we really worked on integrating our arm into the dance, right? So we had a couple examples.
Yeah, we had the triumphant Andrew. So you can combine this in a couple different ways. One was to go really slowly with the arm and to go quickly with the feet. Do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da. Another one would be to go quickly with the arms and slow with the feet. Do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da.
Right, the combinations are endless, so we worked with that. Then we introduced just a new fun, challenging rhythm, which we call a hemiola, a 3 against 2, right? So let's see, if I will demonstrate it for you. If I'm clapping a 1, 2, 1, 2.
Then I will go da 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 da.
Exactly. So if you were to subdivide those two beats into 6 little chunks, or 3 little chunks rather, we're trying to hit evenly between them, right? Boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum, between them. So we looked at putting this into our feet, which is kind of fun. Yeah?
Do,
Bum, bum, do, bum, bum, do. Yeah? And then really we put it into our hips to have some fun with it as well. So we divided it. We stepped on the one. Boom, boom.
Do, ba, ba, do,
Boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba. Right? And really this is the idea of a concept of a new rhythm that you could apply anywhere in your dancing, with the challenge of going against the music just a little bit and noticing that in some songs you might actually find that rhythm.
So that about covers it for our Blues Kitchen workshop, the first of two. This was Fresh Beats.